I was intimidated. I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't know exactly what was going to take place. And we were in a situation where the tournament director, who happens to be our tournament director for our Two Chicks in a Boat team trail, is Kai. And Kai really laid the groundwork for us to come in without knowing anything and feeling very comfortable with everyone there, and made us feel like family.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your host, coming to you from the Lance Chuck Camper Mobile Podcast Studio, Master Captain Angie Scott.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast. I've got some returning guests to the show with me this week because they have some exciting new developments that we're going to talk about since we chatted last time. Some of you may remember or be familiar with Two Chicks in a Boat. We've got Lori Povisil and Beth Mills on the show. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us back, Angie.
Yeah, thank you. We're super excited to be here.
Well, it was so much fun last time. We did a video episode, which I don't do a lot of those, but I remember your cat made a cameo appearance on that one.
Oh my God, that's true. Well, unfortunately, we no longer have the cat. He passed away in October to kidney disease, but he was notorious for being a Zoom bomber, and every time, he did that for like 3 years. He started it in 2020 and just carried on. So, we miss him.
He's been memorialized on the podcast. So.
Well, there you go. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So big news I want to talk about is your new team tournament trail, women's team tournament trail, I should clarify. And so I want to just kind of talk to you about why you felt the need to create this, and maybe just a little bit about the background or process of getting it going, because I know that that's not an easy accomplishment.
No, it has been a challenge. So really the idea came to us sitting at our local watering hole, getting some Classics pizza and some beverages one day after school, because I was a teacher and then I did retire in 2021. Beth still is a teacher. And I was just like, you know what, we should run a women's team trail. And Beth's like, okay, it's on the napkin, whatever, And so literally, like, we just sat and thought about it. And there aren't any women's team trails that are out there at all that we know of. Beth and I compete as a team, but against all the guys here in Ohio, and we love it. We enjoy it, but we want, more females to get in fishing. And so we just kind of thought that the idea of a team trail might help women with the expenses. So they're coming with a friend, so they can stay with a friend or whatever and keep the cost down. And then they would also be more familiar with that person. So Beth and I both fished the LBAA, absolutely love the organization. But I would have to go as a boater and Beth would have to go as a co-angler. And so there's the cost for the boater, then there's the cost for the co-angler. And it just, then there's the travel and the distance. And we wanted something that women can split the cost on. And so that's kind of where we want something a little bit more north. And we'll expand as time goes on, but that's kind of the direction that we headed with the whole idea. Beth, I think, has some stuff to add.
Sure. We, when we first started fishing tournaments together, we entered a particular circuit that offered an ability for us to start without really knowing anything.
Oh, yeah. We had no clue what we were doing.
Yeah, we were, I can only speak for me, but I was intimidated. I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't know exactly what was going to take place.
Yeah.
And we were in a situation where the tournament director, who happens to be our tournament director for our Two Chicks in a Boat team trail, is Kai. And Kai really laid the groundwork for us to come in without knowing anything and feeling very comfortable with everyone there, and made us feel like family. Yeah. And because of that, we can't stop tournament fishing now.
We love it.
And we want to give back what Kai gave to us. And we want other women to not be intimidated. Yeah. We kind of want to take it out of the equation for other women.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. It's kind of full circle with Kai being your tournament director now on this new trail. And you know, my background, my initial experience getting into bass fishing was with the team format. So I've always been a huge proponent of that, because mine's a little different in that, like, you don't pick your partner, you still get paired up with different people, but it's the same in that you're fishing together as a team, and so you're not like competing against each other in any way. You're trying to both do as well as possible, so it's a huge opportunity to learn depending on who your boater is, if you're on the back of the boat, or vice versa. You know, you always learn from each other regardless of who's who. But so I definitely am a proponent for that. And when you first told me about the idea of doing a women's team trail, I was immediately on board with that, because for all the reasons that you mentioned. It takes a lot of the fear factor out of it. You know, if you're on the back of the boat, you're confident, hopefully, with the person that's running the boat.
Exactly.
And that's a huge thing. I mean, if you're not in that type of scenario, you never know who you're gonna get, you know, and
exactly right.
Yeah, that can be scary. Unfortunately, I have heard of some situations that weren't great. So,
and you're hitting on the part too, like when you have a teammate, usually, like if I was boating and something happened to me, like in a medical emergency on the water, Beth would know how to get me back to the ramp. She would know what to do. And most of the time you're going to have that when you're competing with someone that you know, and that, you know, and vice versa. But when you're going as a co-angler or as a boater, you may have a co-angler who doesn't know how to get the boat back to where you're going, you know. So that takes away that team component, hopefully, again, adds to it being a more comfortable setting for both anglers. Plus, the other thing too is you're only needing to catch 5 fish,
right?
So 5 fish versus 3 for the co-angler and 5 for the boater. So and you're working together, and you're teaching each other, and you're learning stuff. So that is, you know, what our whole purpose and goal was for this trail.
We're hoping it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. Well, you make it sound so easy. You only have to catch 5 fish. That wasn't so easy for me on Chickamauga, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. So another component of this is the women's workshops. Talk about that and why that was important for you to include.
Okay, so, and that's one thing. Beth and I are both teachers. We love teaching fishing. And like Beth mentioned before, like we had no clue when we got into a tournament, like what we were doing. Kai was the one who was like, you know, we can't use live bait. And, you know, there's a funny story that, you know, when I first met him and stuff like this. And we just were like, oh, okay. And we didn't know how to tie on different baits. We had no clue really what we were doing. But he made it fun and he made it comfortable. And so the part that we want to offer prior to the tournament, the day before, is we want to offer a workshop for ladies who may be interested in getting into fishing, or maybe they're already into fishing, but they really want to learn a new skill. Maybe they want to really learn more about a crankbait or a spinnerbait. or they want to learn how to back the boat into the water. Like, we want to offer during that 4 hour session something for everyone that can improve their abilities. And that can be from the beginning, how to tie a knot, what type of rod and reel to select for different situations. And then on top of that, we want to spend at least half of those 2 hour, 4 hours, probably like 2.5, if weather permitting, will be spent on the water somewhere fishing from shore, because a lot of the ladies that we've worked with have never caught a fish before, and they don't know how to take a fish off. And so we want to teach them those basic skills, so that they can feel comfortable. Then if they stay and see the tournament the next day, that's just letting them see that, hey, you know what, you can do this. If this is something you're into, there's lots of ways to learn, but we just want them to get their feet wet.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we want to be able to provide baby steps. Whatever your comfort level may be, our ultimate goal of those workshops is to be able to have women leave feeling independent, either about a skill or independent enough to help teach either their children or grandchildren or someone else fishing, because that's the only way I think we can grow.
Mm-hmm.
But we also want them to be able to feel, oh, I might be interested into this tournament thing. And so their baby step can be our workshop, but then maybe the next day they'll just come watch and see what it looks like, but they don't have to enter.
Right.
So we just want to give them a warm learning environment that helps them, feel safe and again, not intimidated by anything.
As we grow, like, we've projected out, like, eventually we want to be able to offer a full day workshop, and that would be actually something where the ladies are on the water. And for people who are more experienced anglers, I don't know about you, Angie, but when it comes to learning electronics, there's so much to learn about them, And so we want to be able to coordinate. We've been really blessed to be able to work with Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, but we want to be able to coordinate and maybe bring in someone who can teach electronics, to us as well, and just specialize in different things, just to give people, to get them more comfortable with what's going on in the water, etc., especially with boating.
Yeah, and keep them safe.
Keep them safe.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't really think about the aspect of somebody going to one of these workshops and then being able to check out the tournament the next day, because that's really cool, because they kind of see what it is and they see these ladies getting out there and doing this. And so, one of the themes of the show is, if she can do it, I can do it. And so they're kind of getting to see that firsthand. And maybe they're nowhere near ready to step into a tournament situation, but now you've planted the seed that this is something I can work towards. And it doesn't even necessarily mean it's going to be years down the road. It might be months. It's just
exactly
getting comfortable. So
and we saw that at Lake Chickamauga when we came out and did the weigh-in and things like that. There was somebody in the water, and she was with her husband, and she put the boat on the trailer, and then they drove around and they were like, can you tell us what you guys are doing? What is this all about? And she's already signed up. So,
awesome.
which she's from Tennessee, and she has gone to our website. She's getting our emails and is trying to find a way to get connected with us, either here in Ohio or down in Virginia when we go there. But that's exactly what we want to happen. We want ladies to realize you can do this. Get out there. You can do it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let's talk about this first trail stop that just happened recently. How did everything go? I know, obviously, with the very first event, there's probably a lot of a learning curve involved, but I was fortunate enough to be able to take part in that tournament because, why not? It's right here in Tennessee. I didn't have that far to drive. So I was like, I've got to at least come out and support y'all's first event, and hopefully maybe do some more down the road. Probably not this season, but we'll look at what next year looks like with everything going on. But talk a little bit about this first event.
Well, first of all, we greatly appreciate your support and you coming to fish. You actually got to fish with Holly Greco, which we met her 4 years ago, and she was interested in fishing and she likes to fish. And she actually came down with me because Beth couldn't come down. And so we spent the week on the water, and she learned all about the boat and learned all about some different techniques and things like that. So it was a great opportunity to take someone and to say, hey, you can do this. And she's excited, and hopefully she'll be able to get involved in the one in June. As far as the first tournament goes, I think everybody had a good time. I think that was our most important thing, was that we really wanted people to feel welcomed and to feel like it was worth their time and their effort. So our tournament entry fees are 200 teams. So that's like you split it down the middle, and $10 of that goes towards big bass. And then the rest, we do an 80-20 payback. So I think people left the tournament that made money, and they were like, it wasn't a bad day. We had a long tournament, and we took off at 7:11 and came in at 4. And we had goodie bags for everybody, which we had a lot of help down there in Tennessee. Colin Burnett did a wonderful job of hooking us up with a couple tackle stores, Jack's Bait and Tackle, Talk and Tackle, and then Fishtails, and then Bass Pro Shops.
Chattanooga.
Yeah, from Chattanooga. I'll let Beth share what we were able to do there because we couldn't do a workshop. But we thought it went pretty well. There was some stuff setting things up, and the way we weighed things in. We want to do a better job of making sure we get good pictures and make sure the checks are kind of pre-written out before we send them out.
It's amazing how quickly you learn.
Right.
That how to, we could do this just a little bit better next time.
Yeah.
But you only know what you know at that time. So we're making a list of what we need to do next time. But
we've already got some of that done already.
Yeah.
I've already done it. Yeah.
Yeah. And trying to put up all the tents and all that, all the equipment and stuff that needs ready. But
that took a little bit of time in the morning.
But overall, the smiles and the families that could be there with everyone at the weigh-in, that seemed cool. Well worth it. We had a young angler, we had a new angler, and we had some seasoned anglers there, and
that don't know how to count.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Well,
yeah.
So we had you and I had some challenges at this one. Me being found out I have a bad alternator, which is getting repaired now. So I'm itching to get the boat back, or a cable anyway, coming from it to where the battery wasn't getting charged throughout the day. So about noon, I was sitting dead in the water, and shout out to Amanda Huff, who actually ended up winning the tournament. Maybe a little bit of karma, I don't know, but she came and came and jumped me off, and then just as I was about to pull away, I shifted and my kill switch cut the motor off. And I was like, Amanda, I need you again. So she had to jump me off twice in a row. So I guess practice makes perfect anyway. Now we're both good at that. So
there you go.
But then I had to fish the rest of the day with Holly there, just kind of around the ramp area. Caught a lot of fish, man. We could not get them to measure much over 14 inches.
Yeah.
So that was
tough.
kind of a bummer. We were looking for those bigger ones and just could not find them for whatever reason. But it was my first time. Really, I fished Chickamauga back in, I think it was 2019 with Team Nashville Bassmasters as a co-angler. So I don't really remember a whole lot, except that we did win first place, but I was also paired up with a really, really good boater, so I
Okay.
got luck of the draw on that one, but didn't remember much about the lake at all since I wasn't the one driving the boat. And
Yeah.
I was hoping to get out there for some practice, but man, the winds on Saturday ended up being like
It
50
was
mile
rough.
an hour gusts. I mean, it looked
Yeah.
like the ocean. I was like, oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it out there. So thankfully, the conditions were great for us on Sunday.
Oh,
So
Sunday
We're very
it was
blessed.
yeah,
yeah.
Sunday was a perfect day. It was a perfect day for our first tournament.
Yep.
In the sun, it warmed up in the end of the day. It was cold in the morning, but
Mhm.
then when we had weigh-ins, it was beautiful. So in Lake Chickamauga is a beautiful lake.
Yes.
And it's a big lake. And I was worried, with some anglers, if the weather was going to be bad. But I knew going out of Saudi Daisy, just trying to get that ramp was like the amount of work that went into just finding that ramp was unbelievable. But yeah, it was crazy, but we knew that people could stay in there and fish and not have to deal with the weather.
Mhm.
So it ended up being a blessing. It was not our first ramp of choice, and it was actually the third or fourth that we got. But it worked. It all
was meant
worked
to
out.
be.
It was meant
Yeah.
to be. We have people signed up already for our next tournament, so we're excited about that. So we hope everybody had a good time, and I know that some of the products that they left were quality products,
Mhm.
that were donated by the tackle stores and stuff like that. And then again, Bass Pro Shops, they gave us gift card, which actually allowed us to go ahead and pay for a third place spot, and also added to our big bass pot. So it was great that they did that.
Super sweet.
Yeah, I give a shout out to Greg Norman there at Chattanooga.
Bass
Awesome.
Pro Shop.
Yeah, Bass Pro Shops. So, and they actually had us. I was gonna tell.
Yeah, so Saturday we were before the tournament, we were headed to Chattanooga Bass Pro Shop to have a women's workshop, but unfortunately it just didn't work out. Then we didn't have enough women signed up for it, but we were able to meet all of their staff at a morning meeting and let them know all about what we're doing. So they definitely have all of our information and contacts, and they're going to help try to spread the word of Two Chicks, and we will also, help them out if they ever needed anything. But we really appreciated, all of their support
Right.
for our first tournament.
And the other part that was cool too is, we've talked about this before in the LBA. We talked about this at ICAST, Angie. Like sometimes you go into a store and nobody wants to help you. Like they don't come up to you. They don't, and so we were able to address that situation. Like when you see women, you need to come up, ask them if they need some help, and understand some of them may be anglers, seasoned veterans, and some may be new, but you want to ask them if they need help. And same with when going to purchase a boat, if you've got a couple in there, you got to make sure that the women, they're the ones that are going to basically tell the husband or the boyfriend, yeah, you can get this. Or in the case of our friend, she ended up buying a boat. So we so she ended up coming back home, and she had her connection in Chattanooga, and I think she pulled the trigger on a boat up here in Ohio because she's something she's always wanted. And so we just really wanted to let employees know, make sure that you go, and when you see women in the fishing department, go up to them, talk to them, or in the boating department, because we're the ones spending the money right now. We're the untapped potential in the fishing world, and we know all the statistics. It's smart for them to jump on that.
Right. Very cool. Well, let's talk about what you got coming up because this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
You have another trail stop coming up pretty quick, right?
Yeah, June 4th is we're going to be here on our home lake. It's Allen Creek Lake. It's New Galena Ramp, and it's in Delaware, Ohio. And we picked that lake obviously because of our connection with Cabela's Bass Pro Shops. and then Paul's Marine, and Bass Cat Boats. So they are really going to be sponsoring that along with Mark Wahlberg's Airstream. So, we kind of thought outside of the box. We've got a buddy down there. We'd love to go to the Airstream dealership and all the campers and just look and if I win the lottery, this is what we're buying. You know what I mean? And they have been a firm believer in Two Chicks in a Boat since we started. And they came on as sponsors and we're hoping that they bring up one or two campers for that weekend for people to actually get in, tour, look at it. Not everybody is going to be a tournament angler, but somebody might say this is great for our family. This is great for our family.
And get outdoors.
Yep, get outdoors, improve that mental health by being in nature. So we're pretty excited about that. Our lake is a smaller lake. It has 3 main pools, but it's full of smallmouth and largemouth bass. So June is a really good time. They'll just be coming in. Some of them will be coming into spawn. Some of them will be off spawn. But it should be a good.
And they only have to be 12 inches.
Yes, they don't have to be 15 inches. Just 12.
Yeah. Well,
for
dang.
both smallmouth. Yeah, I know. I'm telling you.
Might have a limit at that one.
Oh yeah. We would catch them in Tennessee and be like, man, back home this would win.
Yeah.
This would be a winning bass. So
I didn't get that.
Yeah. Oops.
Siri wants to help.
Siri wants to
in
help.
the podcast.
I know. Sorry about that. So anyhow, that is June 4th, Saturday. On June 3rd, we will have a workshop, and that again is going to be at our Cabela's on Polaris Parkway. And then June 2nd, we're just going to have a meet and greet. Like people who are coming in for the tournament, we're going to get together at our pizza store, Classic Sports Bar and Pizza, because they've got really good pizza. And actually,
and
the
big
wings,
supporters of us.
they're huge supporters.
And help us.
They
in every way.
They do. They've been with us since we started tournament fishing, and
Very
we
sweet.
just they're great people.
But wonderful food.
Making me hungry.
It's good stuff. I'm telling you, it's really good. And then we will go July 30th. We'll be down at South Holston Lake in Virginia. And I guess it's
Bristol.
It's called Bristol, Virginia, and Bristol, Tennessee. So the city.
Oh, we on the border?
We're on the border.
Oh, we're on the border.
So we're on the border. So we're going to be at that lake. Amanda Huff Jones kind of gave us some information about that lake. It's got it's summertime. It's super hot, but it's a really deep lake, and it has a lot of tree coverage. So there will be a lot of shade for the anglers to fish. Both smallmouth and largemouth will be there. And I believe we have a meet and greet. Is going to be on Friday, but I'm hoping her daughter comes and plays some music for us. We just don't know the location yet. And then we'll be at Bass Pro Shops again on that Saturday. And that's where we'll hold both of those meetings. We'll be at Bass Pro Shops. Definitely in June. I'm not 100% sure in July because Amanda's kind of working on that. And then our last tournament stop is Lake Geist, Indiana. And that's
September 10th.
Yeah, September 10th. And those still things are kind of up in the air. Soremouth Tackle is our big sponsor for that event. So we're really excited. We'll have our meeting there at Soremouth Tackle, which is close by. And that will be the last tournament. And then the one thing that's really cool is whoever is our points champion, whoever wins, and is highest in points, they have the opportunity to go fish the women's classic for the LBAA. Awesome. So they'll get a chance to go to, I think is it Bull Shoals?
It is Bull Shoals.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they'll get the opportunity. The top team will. Now, if the top team, they have to pay their own way. If they decide they don't want to go, then it would go to the second place team. It's, And Cheryl Bowden has been wonderful, with supporting our trail and our ladies and our events. So we're really excited about that.
Very cool. Well, I'll be excited. Hopefully, I'll also qualify for the Classic through fishing the LBAA and be excited to see who ends up joining us from the Two Chicks in a Boat. So
I know.
Looking forward to that. Well, Any other sponsors you want to give a shout out to? I know you mentioned Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, Mark Wahlberg, Airstream. Anyone else? Soremouth Tackle.
Sure. Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Dublin. We would like to give a shout out to them.
That's where we get all of our Ram trucks.
Yeah, and to Power Pole, because we have the Power Pole charge and our Power Poles on our new boat, and we love them.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's amazing.
Great accessories you can have on your boat. So
we're still working on a couple more for our event here. What'd you say?
Oh, and Mercury Marine.
Yep. Mercury Marine, Bass Cat Boats, and Paul's Marine. So Paul's Marine, they provided the trailer for us, which has been fantastic. It's getting the graphics done, hopefully this next couple of weeks. And they've been wonderful. That's where we got our Bass Cat, and we're running this year.
Running a tournament, it's amazing. All the stuff you need.
Oh yeah,
yes it is.
You
yeah, we had
you
no
think
idea.
you need tackle when you're just fishing a tournament, but as a tournament, directors here and all that good stuff, there's a lot of extra things you need.
Yeah,
no doubt.
It's been a work in progress. I'm glad I am retired from teaching to be able to get it all done. And again, we're still working on some sponsors. We got some local sponsors. We really want to support women's businesses, and actually Breezy Bombers. I want to talk about those. We have stuff to pass out for the ladies when they're here. She is a 16-year-old now, a young lady here that has been doing fishing shows. She's been going to expos selling her baits, and I'll be honest with you, soft plastics. 2 of my big fish came off of her soft plastics.
Nice.
So,
on
Lake Chick, and there's another one too as well. I'm blanking on the name. I was supposed to reach out to Dad. It's on your phone probably. Crawley's bait, I don't know, plastic. She's 11 and makes her own baits. Yeah, so I know it's pretty sweet. And then Swamp Pro Lures,
Clower Custom Baits.
There we go. Clower's Custom Baits, and then Swamp Pro Lures. Yeah, she's out of Louisiana, and we met her up here, and we just, we really want to give shout outs to kids who are following their dreams and
young women in the industry.
Yeah. Yep. So we're all about supporting them.
Love
making
that.
the change.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how it has to happen. We need to support each other. I think one slogan that's been going around social media here lately is empowered women empower women, or something like that. So super important to support each other. We're all better together.
Yeah,
all of that.
100%. Yeah.
So awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the show to talk about what you've been doing, and we'll continue to follow. We'll share the website 2 Chicks in a Boat. That's the number 2 chicksinaboat.com, so people can go check it out, register for some of these events, workshops, all that stuff. Check it out, and follow them on social media. I have to say your live videos are always entertaining.
I know. We wanted to do one really bad. We were so tired when we left Tennessee.
Sure.
Because we just needed to talk about the number 6. Like how many
if you
fingers.
noticed, Andy, we skirted right around any difficulties
we kind of did
on the tournament.
Yeah, we can't count.
Well, now that you brought it up, let's tell everybody what you're talking about.
Okay. So we fished the tournament. We gave it everything we had, and we felt like, man, we had a good bag. Lori caught a big mama, and we put her in the boat. And
that was like first thing in the morning. Yeah, off of Breslin's bait.
That big mama was 4.5 pounds, and we were able to catch more fish, and we were able to call
2 or 3 times.
Yeah, we just we didn't call enough because when I went in the live well to get our fish to weigh them in, we had 6 fish in our live well, and you can only have 5 at one time, and we know that because we not only made the rules of our elk tournament. We have fished other tournaments, and that is also
That's
the same
the
rule.
rule.
But we have a new boat, and we have large live wells in it.
Huge
And
live wells.
I didn't realize that there's like just a tiny little
V.
like in the bottom of each one, and wouldn't you know it, little
Squeaker
fishy
spot.
Little spot.
Little 12-inch spot.
was sitting right in that little crevice down there,
He
and
was happy.
Yeah.
He was really happy.
and it was a sad day.
Yeah,
because why, Lori?
that's
Well-
major bummer.
Yeah. Well, when Beth walks up there, she goes, "Well, we're starting off with a penalty." And I was like, "What? Did a fish die or something?" Like, no, that couldn't have been a penalty. They were all live, it's not a penalty. And then she's like, "We might have had 6 fish in our live well." And I was like, "Oh, that's no penalty. That's a disqualification."
I was really hoping for a penalty.
And
Yeah, really.
Ty, the tournament director, goes, "What's the ruling on that?" I was like, "Tournament director, you were supposed to have read the rules." And he started laughing, and I printed off copies for everybody should they need them. And we have protest forms and stuff like that. And so, I read it out loud to everyone, and everybody's like, "Oh no, man, that's horrible." And but we're like, "Hey, a rule's a rule. We're not changing them for anything." It was an honest mistake, and we learned. And it's funny because
we didn't do it on purpose.
Right.
the guy that bought our boat when we got back from Kentucky after we went to visit friends, he actually sent us 5 new call tags. So so we have brand new call tags with a little whiteboard that we can put the numbers on. And I will say, we had 7 call tags in our boat because 2 of them were broken. So you would have thought that we realized, but no, we didn't.
Well,
It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, honest mistake. Kudos to you for owning up to it for
Oh.
sure, because you would have won, and you would have won
Yeah.
big fish, right?
Yeah.
So,
we would have.
two-
we would have won both.
2 big prizes, and that had to be a bit gut wrenching at the end of the day after you worked so hard and felt so good about the day and how it went. But I can also say I can relate a little bit. Thankfully, I didn't have quite that scenario, but my first tournament this year with LBA down on Lake Palestine, I also have a new boat this year with giant live wells, and
Yes.
the partition between the two, there is a little like rectangular cutout for the drain plug.
Yes.
Exactly.
And we thankfully my co-angler and I both knew who caught what, but one of her little fish ended up swimming over to my side through that little rectangular cut, and we knew which one it was because it was the smallest one. So thank goodness that wasn't an issue, but I can certainly see how that would be an issue, and now that's just something to keep in mind when you're fishing lakes that either don't have a limit or have a small limit, to be aware that that could potentially happen. So
Beth is bringing home a noodle to shove down in there.
There you go.
But that fish was so happy. It was dark. The live well is dark. You can't see in there, and they're happy and they're comfortable in that bass cat boat. They loved it. But it's funny because the pictures, everybody's like, "Well, get your pictures taken with them," and Kai's holding up the 6 fish behind us. So it's like, we're not going to forget that anytime soon.
No,
but,
see, that's you live and learn.
Oh yeah,
Lessons you never even imagined you'd have to learn one day.
Yeah,
True.
The only sad part is that money, we knew exactly where that money was going. It was going right back into the account.
We can pay that bill, and we can
Right.
pay that bill.
Pay this credit card bill and this bill. Yeah.
Right.
So it's all good. I just gotta work more at the airport.
And that the other women got to take home some pay.
Yeah.
Payday.
There you go.
Yeah.
And now you have a story to tell for years and years. When this becomes a huge deal and you're, I don't know, you've got 50 boats and you'll remember where you were when you started. And
We hope that happens. We really do. We hope it catches on, and we just get people excited and get them comfortable about fishing, and then, make it worth their while. And we hope it all works out.
We so appreciate you spreading the word for us and letting us come on the back on the show. And we really wish you well in all of your events.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for doing what you do and coming from the place where you're coming from, just with a desire to provide this platform for ladies and to continue to grow the sport. So we'll be rooting you on, and maybe I'll get to fish with you guys some more in the near future.
That sounds awesome. We would love it. We'll keep our fingers crossed you can join us again.
Yeah, absolutely.